What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and in this video I will be ranking the top 10 strongest characters in the entire 7 Deadly Sins series. After making videos ranking every member of the Demon Clan and every member of the Goddess Clan, we received very positive feedback, and a lot of you wanted to see who I think are the top 10 strongest characters overall, all races and clans included. In this video, I will be doing just that, and I will give you my logic for why I am ranking them in this particular order. To make my decision, I will use power level, abilities, battle capability, and accomplished feats to determine their ranking. That said, this is not an exact science, so if you disagree, please don't hesitate to comment and give me your reasoning down below. I'd love to hear from you. Before we jump into the list, I want to give a big thank you to Grand Chase for sponsoring this video. The official sequel to the popular Grand Chase RPG has just been launched, and it is jam-packed with explosive real-time action and strategy. You can choose from dozens of characters, including all 19 that were featured in the original Grand Chase and some brand new characters as well. And you can jump right into the action, taking on swaths of enemies at the same time and using epic battle combos to take them out in style. You can even set up a team of up to 4 characters and hack and slash a barrage of monsters at once. One thing I love about this game is that instead of fighting every enemy one by one until your hand cramps up, you can gather a bunch of monsters into a group and slay them all in epic fashion. Not to mention that you get to play with beautiful magical waifus, and if there is one thing that a 7 Deadly Sins fan like me can appreciate, it's beautiful magical waifus. This game is extremely rewarding even for players who don't want to spend a bunch of extra money, so be sure to click that link in the description and check it out for yourself. It's free. Heads up, I will be assessing each character's strength at their peak. So that means that even if the character is currently a lot weaker than they were before, or even if they are currently dead, I will still talk about them when they were at their absolute strongest point in the story. If you enjoy this type of video and you want to see more, be sure to leave a like to let me know. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Please keep in mind that this video will use information all the way up to the latest chapters of the manga, so there will be manga spoilers. If you're an anime-only fan, there are some big twists coming up that you still haven't seen in the anime, so this is your warning. And now let's get it started. At number 10, the Goddess Elizabeth. In her original body, Elizabeth was a member of the Goddess Clan and the daughter of the Supreme Deity, the ruler of the entire Goddess Clan. Before she was killed and then cursed by her mother to keep reincarnating as a human over and over again, which was her punishment for falling in love with a demon, i.e. Meliodas, Elizabeth was one of the highest ranked goddesses, and she demonstrated incredible power during the previous Holy War 3,000 years ago. Her exact strength is difficult to pinpoint because we don't have a power level for her from back when she was a goddess. And she is also opposed to death and violence, so she does her best to always avoid it. But we do know that when she was a goddess, she took on both Monspeet and Derriere in their Indura forms and was able to purify them with her power, knocking them unconscious and reverting them back to their normal demon forms. In the past, Elizabeth has also demonstrated powerful abilities directly related to empathy, and these abilities enable her to speak directly to the hearts of her opponents and make them lose the will to fight. And we've actually seen her convince an entire army of demons to stop fighting. The Archangel Mael at one point compared Elizabeth's strength to the strength of Meliodas and the Archangel Ludoshel. So that places Elizabeth in the company of some of the strongest characters in the entire series, and this is why she lands at number 10 on our list. At number 9, the Archangel Ludoshel. The leader of the 4 archangels, Ludoshel is currently possessing the body of Princess Margaret, the sister of Elizabeth Leonis. As one of the 4 archangels, Ludoshel has a grace called Flash, which enables him to move with super speed, making him one of the fastest characters in the series. While inside Margaret's human body, Ludoshel's power level has been measured at 201,000. But we can assume that in his original goddess body, which does not have the limitation of human bodies, Ludoshel would have been even stronger. Although it is difficult to say exactly how much stronger he would have been. While some characters on this list, like Elizabeth, want to avoid violence and conflict, Ludoshel is ruthless and aggressive, and he believes that the Holy War is a good thing because it gives him the opportunity to destroy the Demon Clan. based on his strength and ruthlessness, but also keeping in mind that we have seen him get overpowered before by other characters, including Derriere and Mon Speed in Endura, and also Zeldris with Ominous Nebula, Ludoshel lands at number 9 on our list. At number 8, King with fully grown wings. Harlequin, the King of the Fairies, also known as the Grisly Sin of Sloth King, is one of the weakest characters in the 7 Deadly Sins when it comes to pure physical strength. However, as the current Fairy King, he possesses enormous magical power. And during the big Mael/Estarossa fight in the manga, King awakens his full potential and attains a new form as his fairy wings finally grow to their full size, coming to resemble the large wings that the first Fairy King Gloxinia had instead of the little baby wings that King used to have. And with this transformation, King attains a completely new level of power. Now, King is a character for whom the last accurately recorded power level is pretty much meaningless, since his last power level was only about 41,000. But in this new form, King is on a completely different level. He is able to hear the hearts of those around him, essentially reading their mind, including their innermost thoughts, and using his true Chastaful and its many forms, he is able to defeat Mael in his corrupted form relatively easily. Now, when we think about how much trouble everyone else was having fighting Mael after he had absorbed multiple commandments, and when we think about the fact that in this form, Mael seemingly destroys Derriere and both Sariel and Tarmiel, it's easy to start thinking that maybe King has now reached the status of one of the strongest characters in the entire series. And while he now definitely belongs in the top 10, it is also important to remember that at the point at which King faced him, Mael's body was already being torn apart from the inside by multiple commandments. So it is possible that this was part of the reason why King was able to defeat Mael so easily. Nevertheless, King, with his full power awakened and his wings fully grown, is much stronger than he was before. And he is now definitely a force to be reckoned with, especially since all the ladies know that when it comes to fairy wings, size matters. At number 7, Merlin, the Boar's Sin of Gluttony. Merlin is the most powerful mage in all of Britannia, and we know that she has been alive for more than 3,000 years. In fact, 30 centuries before the story begins, Merlin knew and was close to the original Elizabeth in her goddess body. Merlin was born in Belialuin, a city once known as the capital of the wizards, and she immediately became famous due to the fact that she was born with infinite magic. This infinite magic is so rare and so powerful that the goddess and demon clans both tried to get Merlin to come over to their side during the previous Holy War, and they each offered her secret magical knowledge and abilities in return for her support. But rather than picking either side, Merlin just took the knowledge offered by both sides. And because they were tricked by Merlin, the rulers of the goddess and demon clans were so mad that they destroyed the entire city of Belialuin, although Merlin survived, of course. As should be obvious by now, Merlin has immense magical powers and possesses many unique magical abilities. One of her special abilities is Infinity, which enables her to make her spells last forever, and she even used one of her spells to stop her own body from aging at age 30, making her virtually immortal, and also making her Escanor's eternal waifu. Her magic abilities are considered to be in a totally different league from ordinary wizards and mages, and she even has an ability known as Absolute Cancel, which allows her to cancel out and erase the spells of others. Merlin has so many different magical abilities and items that there is no way to list them all here. But it's enough to say that she can use everything from teleportation to spells like Perfect Cube and Exterminate Ray. And of course, she possesses secret magical knowledge from both the demon and goddess clans because she succeeded in tricking the demon king and the supreme deity so many years ago. On top of all that, Merlin has a mysterious ace up her sleeve called the Morning Star of Aldan that we still don't know very much about. The Morning Star of Aldan is the name of Merlin's sacred treasure, and it is clear that it has insane magical power. But it's important to point out that its true nature and potential are still largely a mystery, which makes me think that this particular sacred treasure will play an important role in the story at some point in the future. In chapter 292, we got a great glimpse of Merlin's potential as she uses complex layers of magic to cast multiple spells which absolutely ruined Chandler and Kusak's day. And we can only imagine what else Merlin has in store for us in the future. For that reason, and of course because of her insane magical abilities in general, Merlin ranks at number 7 on our list. At number 6, the original Gowther. The demon Gowther, the person who created the doll Gowther, died long before the current story of the 7 Deadly Sins ever got going, but the more the story goes on, the more we come to understand that Gowther played a huge role in shaping the current world of the 7 Deadly Sins. It is hard to say how strong he would be in a one-on-one battle because he died so long ago, and his powers are less about direct physical conflict and more about long-range magic and mental manipulation. But it is clear that during his lifetime, Gowther was an incredibly powerful wizard, so much so that the Demon King forced him to become one of the 10 Commandments against his will because the Demon King thought that Gowther was too valuable to the Demon Clan to be allowed to simply do as he pleased. The original Gowther was also the teacher and master of Merlin, so we can assume that Gowther taught Merlin many of the incredible abilities that she possesses today. And his magic is so sophisticated that he was able to create an artificial doll and still make that doll one of the most powerful warriors in the world. A warrior capable of becoming a member of the 10 Commandments and of the 7 Deadly Sins. And just like the doll Gowther, the original Gowther had the special ability known as Invasion, which allowed him to read and manipulate the thoughts and memories of other creatures. As we eventually learn in the manga, Gowther's magic was so strong that he was able to end the previous Holy War by manipulating the memories of a vast number of individuals on both sides of the conflict, including the Demon King himself. Even though we never quite see him fighting an opponent one-on-one in the traditional way, the fact that the original Gowther could manipulate the minds of so many creatures from a long distance, including the mind of the Demon King himself, means that Gowther is overall one of the strongest characters in the 7 Deadly Sins. After all, why even bother getting into a one-on-one battle if you can mess with your opponent's mind before he ever gets a chance to meet you face to face? And now moving into the top 5, at number 5, Zeldris. Zeldris is the youngest son of the Demon King, and he is acting as the Demon King's representative. Zeldris has ambitions of becoming the next Demon King, and because he possesses power that he borrowed directly from the Demon King himself, sometimes referred to as the power of God, even the highest ranked demons like Chandler and Kusak are both impressed and intimidated by the potential power that Zeldris possesses. Although I feel that Zeldris definitely deserves a spot on this list, he is one of the most difficult characters to actually rank accurately. For one thing, the highest recorded power level that we have for him was recorded long before the recent events in the manga. That power level was 61,000, but a lot has changed since then, and Zeldris could easily be 3 times stronger than that now, if not more. The other reason why I think Zeldris is so hard to rank is that I don't think he has shown us his full potential yet. As the direct representative of the Demon King, he has unique powers that no other higher ranked demon has, and there is no accurate way to predict the true extent of his power. In the video where I ranked all the demons from weakest to strongest, I actually placed Zeldris behind the original Gowther, but with the latest chapters in the manga giving us a better idea of the extent of Zeldris' true power, I decided to place him ahead of Gowther this time around. Some of Zeldris' known abilities include Desiree, which lets him create a portal to a specific target and strike the target down with a lightning bolt, and Ominous Nebula, which allows him to generate a dark vortex that sucks in all living things and then instantly cuts them to pieces. When thinking about how strong Zeldris really is, we can't forget that he almost killed Merlin during the Korand arc, and she was barely saved by Elizabeth's healing powers. And when Zeldris used Ominous Nebula on Escanor, Merlin, and the Archangel Ludoshel at the same time, he was giving them a lot of trouble. And he was only stopped by Escanor when he reached his most overpowered form known as the One. The Archangel Ludoshel, whose grace Flash is known for giving him incredible super speed, admits that Ominous Nebula is actually faster than his grace. And for all these reasons, Zeldris makes it into the top 5 on our list. At number 4, Escanor. Escanor is a 40-year-old human, and if that was all he was, then he certainly wouldn't be anywhere close to the top 10 strongest characters in the 7 Deadly Sins. But he was born with a very unique power. At night, Escanor is by far the weakest of the 7 Deadly Sins and one of the weakest characters in the entire series. But as the sun begins to rise each day, Escanor's power grows immensely every hour until it reaches its maximum height at noon. As his power grows, so does his body. He becomes incredibly tall and muscular until he reaches his peak at noon each day. At noon, Escanor's power is at its highest point for 1 minute, and at this time, Escanor is able to enter a state known as the One. In the past, Merlin stated that when this happens, Escanor is easily the strongest of the 7 deadly sins as he becomes an invincible incarnation of power. The name of Escanor's sacred treasure is the divine axe Rita, a heavy battle axe which he uses in conjunction with his special ability to deal devastating damage to opponents. Later in the manga, we realize that Escanor's unique ability is actually called Sunshine, the divine grace that once belonged to the strongest of the 4 archangels, Mael. But somehow this incredible power passed on to Escanor. Because of the wild fluctuations of his power between day and night, it is virtually impossible to measure the true extent of Escanor's power, especially when he is in the state known as the One. His power level has been measured at well over 100,000, but judging from his feats and his ability to effectively challenge Meliodas, Estarossa, and Zeldris while he is using Ominous Nebula, it is clear that at the peak of his power, Escanor is way stronger than 100,000. However, before you scream out, "Praise the sun, Escanor is number 1, and proceed to smash your laptop in anger that I ranked him at number 4. We have to remember that as a human, Escanor does have some clear weaknesses that keep him from being ranked even higher on this list. For one thing, the peak of his power lasts for only 1 minute a day, and for the rest of the day he is much weaker, especially at night. What's more, a high-ranked demon like Chandler can actually force Escanor to turn back into his weak nighttime form even in the middle of the day by using darkness, which is the demonic ability to block out the sun by surrounding everything with darkness. As a human, he is also not immortal, so he could technically be killed, especially if he is caught by a powerful enemy while he is vulnerable, such as at night. Lastly, using the form called the One is known to strain Escanor's body, making him potentially weak and vulnerable as soon as the effects of the One wear off. It is absolutely true that under the ideal circumstances, Escanor is one of the strongest characters on this list. But because of the clear weaknesses that I mentioned, he lands at number 4 on our list. At number 3, Meliodas. The oldest son of the Demon King, Meliodas was cursed by his father so that he cannot die, or he can technically, but he just comes back to life. And this makes Meliodas essentially immortal, although every time he is killed and comes back to life, he comes back with less of his genuine emotions, so he becomes more cruel and ruthless. After unlocking his demonic powers, and while in his assault mode, Meliodas' power level was measured at 142,000. But that is before Meliodas begins absorbing 5 of the Demon King's commandments in an attempt to challenge the Demon King and remove the curse that was placed on him. At this point in the manga, the power of Meliodas is definitely well over 142,000. And we could assume that if he successfully absorbs the 5 commandments, which would amount to a quarter of the Demon King's power, Meliodas could easily be pushing a power level of 300,000. We will have to wait and see how powerful the new Meliodas is going to be, but even before this future power-up, Meliodas was shown to be able to take on Zeldris, Estarossa, and Cusack at the same time. On top of that, in Purgatory, Meliodas' emotions, meaning only one part of Meliodas, are able to face off against the Demon King with the help of Bon and Wild. But while this is definitely an impressive feat, it is important to note that at this point Meliodas is still no match for the Demon King. He managed to land a blow on the Demon King only after 60 years of fighting him unsuccessfully with the help of Wild and Bon. And he managed to do it only after finally learning to unleash his original power. But of course, after he absorbs the commandments and or after he is reunited with his emotions and becomes whole again, Meliodas' power will rise exponentially, and at that point we may have to reevaluate this list, but right now I have to place him at number 3. At number 2, the Archangel Mael, back when he still had his grace, Sunshine. Ludoshel's younger brother, Mael is confirmed to be the strongest out of the 4 archangels and the single most powerful warrior of the goddess clan. Among the goddesses, his strength is second only to the supreme deity. Even without his grace called Sunshine, which is currently possessed by Escanor, Mael's power level is believed to be over 200,000. And although absorbing multiple commandments definitely contributed to this, if we just look at how strong Escanor is thanks to Sunshine despite being just a human, it is easy to conclude that Mael, in his far more powerful goddess body using Sunshine, or maybe even using the One, would be an unstoppable force. During the previous Holy War, Mael's strength was compared to the strength of Meliodas, and after Meliodas switched sides and decided to join the Goddess clan, the only way to give the demons a fighting chance and stop the Holy War from turning into a war of complete annihilation was for the original Gother to manipulate the memories of everyone who knew Mael, including Mael himself, and make him take Meliodas' place as the love of the 10 Commandments. Once this occurred, the Goddess clan no longer had a chance to defeat the Demon clan outright, so they decided to sacrifice their own physical bodies in order to seal the demons away inside the coffin of eternal darkness. Now, I know that a lot of people down in the comments are going to say that peak Meliodas is stronger than peak Mael because Meliodas is the main character, so of course he will eventually become stronger. And yes, that is very likely going to happen once Meliodas succeeds in absorbing the 5 commandments or maybe even all 10 commandments. However, as of the making of this video, I think that we have to conclude that Mael with Sunshine at his peak would be stronger than Meliodas before he absorbs the commandments. And since we still haven't seen what Meliodas is capable of after absorbing the commandments, I chose to put Mael ahead of him for now. But if you disagree, it's totally cool. Feel free to give me your reasoning down in the comments below. And finally, at number 1, Lord Twigo. Ha, I'm only kidding, guys. Everyone knows that Lord Twigo's power cannot be contained by any single series or franchise. So, at number 1, we have the Demon King and the Supreme Deity. The number 1 strongest spot is shared by 2 beings at the same time, the ruler of the Demon Clan and the ruler of the Goddess Clan. And although you might think that this is some kind of cop-out and that I should have found a way to determine which of the 2 is stronger, if we go by the information that we have so far, all we've been told is that the Demon King and Supreme Deity are extremely powerful, that they are the most powerful members of their respective clans, and that they are both evenly matched. The Demon King is the father of Meliodas and Zeldris, and he created the 10 Commandments by dividing his own power in half and then granting 1/10 of that power to each of the commandments. So if we put all 10 of the commandments together, they all should measure up to only half of the Demon King's full potential. The Demon King also has some extremely OP abilities, including the Ruler, a magical power that lets him reverse all attacks used against him so that instead of hurting him, they actually make him stronger. He can also manipulate the elements, grant powers to others as was the case with the commandments, and place nearly unbreakable curses on people as was the case with Meliodas. The Demon King's exact power level has not been mentioned yet, although based on the power of the individual commandments, we can speculate that the Demon King's full potential may be well over 500,000. We could be tempted to think that because the Demon King gave up half of his powers to the commandments, he may have been more powerful than the Supreme Deity if he had kept the powers to himself. But we have to remember that the Supreme Deity also gave the power of the graces to the 4 archangels, and the strength of the archangels is comparable to the power of the commandments. So we can't really assume that the Demon King gave up more power to his subordinates than the Supreme Deity did. And speaking of the Supreme Deity, she is the mother of the goddess Elizabeth, and as I said before, she has the power to bestow graces upon the archangels. She also has the ability to create nearly unbreakable curses, such as the one she used on Elizabeth, to control the elements, and to destroy entire cities. She apparently has immunity against all demonic curses, and in general, the Supreme Deity's abilities are believed to be super effective against the Demon Clan, which could indicate that in a one-on-one battle, the Supreme Deity would actually defeat the Demon King because her powers seem to be super effective against his type of power. But that is just speculation since we've never actually seen the Supreme Deity in action. We don't have any sort of power level for the Supreme Deity, and we haven't seen much of her because she is believed to reside in the Celestial Realm. With that said, if the information that we have so far is true, and the Supreme Deity is really as strong as the Demon King, then her power level could also be well over 500,000, which would still be much higher than any power level that has been revealed to us up to this point. And this means that the Supreme Deity and the Demon King are definitely the 2 strongest characters in the 7 Deadly Sins, at least for now. And that is it, the top 10 strongest characters in the 7 Deadly Sins ranked. Let me know if you agree with this list, and if not, then definitely let me know what you would change and why. As I said at the beginning of the video, this is not an exact science, so your feedback and input is welcome and appreciated. If you enjoy this type of content and you want to see more, you can leave a like to let me know. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you want to give us ideas for future videos and stay in touch with all the latest updates, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. As always, thank you all so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!